Hey everybody, how's it going? This was a painted sign that I posted a couple of months ago that the city made this client paint over, and they wanted them all in Substrate. So here we go. We're going to redo them all with Substrate, and this is a vinyl stencil I'm making right now for each component onto ACM, aluminum composite material, a lightweight, efficient, standard substrate for the sign industry. Each component will have its own laminated digital print applied over the top of it. And once in a while, our tape gets away from us, and I reenacted what happened to me while I was doing this with a tape rolled down my driveway. And this time I caught it. Before I had to find it down the gutter. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all my substrate material for these substrate signs, zip around there with a jigsaw. This just makes it easy for me, and then I pull off both the protective paper and the vinyl, and then I go ahead and sand all the edges down really good because we're going to do digital print, laminate, graphics on these panels. Here I'm roughing up the back of the substrate so I can place and adhere the aluminum angle that's going to fasten these to the pressure treated frames that I'm going to mount onto the wall. Go ahead and pre-drill all of that and prefab everything at the shop as much as I possibly can to make it easier for the on-site installation. So this is called Lord adhesive. It's a acrylic adhesive, but it's a very high bond. There's my print being done, and then I'm going to go ahead and laminate that print, and then I'm going to take that laminated print back to my shop and go ahead and apply all of the laminated print onto the substrates ahead of time. I had to color match that for the background color as best as I could of the wall color so that it will kind of blend it a little bit. I mean, it's no way you can do it because there's always going to be a shadow. Here I'm lifting myself up to the location. It's about 26 feet up. Not too bad, but it's so nice to have the lift. And then I'm going to go ahead and tape up with duct tape my paper pattern. This will allow me to have a flawless installation as long as I get that thing tight. I always do this in the morning time before the wind kicks up. Otherwise, it's a full-on nightmare to try to tape up patterns in a windy condition. So I also want to make sure I get that thing level as I possibly can. And if you might notice, if you can see up close, I actually started out putting this paper pattern in upside down, so you will not see the fact that I later reversed the whole thing and put it in upside right. I was so focused on trying to get it level and in position that I failed to see that I had taped the pattern upside down. Happens to the best of us. Anyway, so I will next make sure the whole pattern is level with my 8-foot level. Love these 8-foot levels because they really give you a lot of distance. And after a few fudgings and tweakings and things like that, I got it level, and now I'm got my bulldog, and I'm drilling 1/2-inch holes in through stucco and concrete. So that whole wall is about 6 inches of concrete. With the stucco additions, that's what's about maybe 1/2 inch, 3/4, 7/8, maybe at the most. So I just drill all my holes in there, and then what I will use to fasten the frames with is concrete anchors, 1/2-inch concrete anchors, which will make them very tight and secure. All of it based on permit, plan, specification, approval. Now it's time to remove the pattern off of the wall and letting it release down to the ground, hopefully not blowing out into the street and landing on somebody's car windshield. Yes. Why didn't you just keep it in the lift with you and go down with it? Well, because it's kind of fun to let it drop down there, land on the sidewalk. And down we go, making sure you keep an eye on your extension cord that it doesn't get pinched in the scissor lift, because that's a real bummer when it splices your extension cord in half. Next, a weed blower makes a nice fast way of getting all the dust off the wall, so it looks all nice and pretty when the job's done. And of course, just make sure there's nobody down there getting a whole face full of concrete dust, because they don't like that very well, I found out. Next, it's time to lock in the pressure treated frames with some anchor bolts, and I went ahead and pre-primed and pre-painted the edges of the frame with the existing stucco paint, the same paint that's on the outside of the wall. That will make it look a little bit nicer when you see it from the edge. You're not really going to see a whole lot from the edge, but when you drive by or walk by, you'll look up and look at the sign. All you'll see is the same exact paint on the edge as you do of the wall. That just kind of helps it just disappear a little bit. So I drive those suckers in with a framing hammer as deep as I can drive them, and then finish it off with a heavy-duty impact wrench. Next, I grind off any portion of the bolt that's protruding beyond the frames so that the signs sit nice and flush against the frames. And it's always fun to see the sparks fly. Finally, it's time to jostle all the sign pieces into place, fit them against the frame, and fasten them along the aluminum angle with pre-painted screws made for pressure treated wood to make this a tight installation. All in all, about a 2.5 hour installation. All the rest of the signs were also done in the same manner. I sure hope you enjoyed this video. That does it for this project, and hopefully this is all we need to do for this particular client. Here's the finished product. Thank you so much for watching. Happy sign making.